Hello everyone, welcome to Dynamic Study. This is the second quiz class on literary theory. It is quiz class number 39. We have already uploaded a lot more quiz class on British literature, African American literature, Canadian literature. I hope you have watched all those quizzes. So today we will discuss some more MCQs on literary theory. Let's begin. First question. Identify the critic who analyzed the plot of Tom Jones. Option 1 R.S. Crane. Option 2 R.P. Blackmore. Option 3 Alan Tate. And option 4 Wimsatt and Beardsley. So the right answer is option number 1 R.S. Crane. R.S. Crane, I have already talked about. He belongs to the group of Chicago School of Critic or the Neo-Aristotelians. They were against the ideas of the new critics, and they said that it is very important to locate individual texts within their genres. So R.S. Crane was a member of this group, Neo-Aristotelians, and he analyzed the plot of Tom Jones in his work. Okay. Next question. Poems are classified into three types: physical poem, platonic poem, and metaphysical poem. Who gave this classification? Who made this classification actually? You need to identify the name of the critic. Option 1 William Empson. Option 2 Victor Shklovsky. Option 3 John Crowe Ransom. And option 4 I.A. Richards. So who classified poems into these three important types? The right option is John Crowe Ransom, option number 3. Now what are these classifications? Physical poetry, according to Ransom, it is a poetry which is based on some concrete things, some objects that were described in poetic language. That is physical poetry. It is often a visual poem. For example, if you have written a poem on a tiger, a cat, a bird, so that kind of thing, a table, that is a physical poem. You can see the object or you can see the animal on which the poem is written. That's why it is physical poem. Now what is platonic poem? Platonic, the term itself suggests that it is based on some abstract concept. Okay, so platonic poetry is basically a poetry which deals with ideas. Idea is more important, not the object. So platonic poetry is always abstract in nature. For example, the poems written by the Romantic and Victorian poets, that were the platonic poems. And the metaphysical poetry, you all know, metaphysical poetry is actually a combination of feeling, that means emotion, and reason. Emotions expressed in a very witty way using different types of conceits, etc. That is the metaphysical poem. So according to John Crowe Ransom, metaphysical poetry is actually a combination of both physical poetry and platonic poetry. That's how he defines metaphysical poetry. So these are the three types. And John Crowe Ransom has written important works like Poems About God, Poetry, A Note on Ontology, etc. Okay. Next question. Mikhail Bakhtin gave the concept of heteroglossia in which work? All of these are works written by Mikhail Bakhtin. So in which work actually he gave the idea of heteroglossia? Option 1 Rabelais and His World. Option 2 Problems of Dostoevsky's Art. Option 3 Dialogic Imagination. And option 4 Discourse in the Novel. So the right answer is option number 4, discourse in the novel. Now what is heteroglossia? Heteroglossia, if you define the term, hetero means other or different, and gloss means layer or the words. So heteroglossia basically means the multi-languageness, narration in a text. Heteroglossia means that different forms of language can be created in one particular text to make it more readable or accessible to different language groups. That is heteroglossia. You can take a very good example of heteroglossia in Jean Rhys's most famous novel, White Sargasso Sea. It is a classic example of heteroglossia because in it you can see the combination of English language as well as the language Creole. Okay, so and in this novel one character can use more than one dialect in his or her narration. That's why it becomes a multi-languaged narration. That is heteroglossia. So Bakhtin has elaborated this concept of heteroglossia in his work Discourse in the Novel. Okay. Next question. Feminine sexuality is discussed by a famous psychoanalyst. Who is he? Option 1, Sigmund Freud. Option 2, Jacques Lacan. Option 3, Julia Kristeva. And option 4, none of the above. The right option is Jacques Lacan. Jacques Lacan has written a book called On Feminine Sexuality. He has talked about feminine sexuality in detail. Next question. Who gave the concept of symbolic and semiotic space? Option 1, Michel Foucault. Option 2, Jacques Derrida. Option 3, Julia Kristeva. And option 4, Jean Baudrillard. What is the correct option? The correct option is Julia Kristeva. Now what is this idea, symbolic and semiotic space? According to Kristeva, semiotic space refers to the early stage when a child has only emotions, no language. So a child in his early stage has only emotions, no language. So this stage is mainly before 6 months. When the child is just born, he doesn't has language, he only understands emotions and he express his own emotions through his gestures, right? So that is semiotics. And the next step is symbolic stage, when the child learns language. He learns to share cultural meanings. That is after 6 months. So these two stages are defined by Julia Kristeva. Semiotic space and symbolic space. Okay. Next question. Who wrote the work Thesis on Language? Option 1, Ferdinand de Saussure. Option 2, Noam Chomsky. Option 3, Boris Eichenbaum. And option 4, Yuri Tiranov. The right option is option number 4, Yuri Tiranov. He has written this work in collaboration with Roman Jakobson. Okay. Next question. Language operates in two ways. What are the two ways according to Roman Jakobson? Option 1, denotative and connotative. Option 2, syntagm and paradigm. Option 3, competence and performance. And option 4, none of the above. The right option is option number 2, syntagm and paradigm. These are also known as selection and combination. Now what are these ideas? Paradigm is actually the selection of appropriate words. For example, we can use a number of synonyms of a single word. For example, the word house has a number of synonyms, and we use the synonym in different context, right? So paradigm is actually the selection of appropriate word in according to the context, according to the circumstances in which the word is used. Okay. And what is syntagm? Syntagm is the way in which we can use the words together to create a complex meaning. So it is about how a sentence is formed. For example, in poetry you can see that we often invert the order of sentences. For example, I can say that I live in a house. This is a normal sentence. But in poetry we often say that this is the house in which I live. So this kind of changing, inversion we often do while writing a sentence, while forming a sentence. So paradigm is the selection of appropriate words, and syntagm is the way we can use these words to create a complex meaning, to create a sentence. So it is about the formation of a meaningful sentence. These are the two ways in which language operates. This idea is given by Roman Jakobson. Next question. Tension in poetry is a very famous concept given by which critic? Option 1, I.A. Richards. Option 2, Victor Shklovsky. Option 3, Roman Jakobson. And option 4, Alan Tate. The right answer is option number 4, Alan Tate. Actually, he has given these two ideas, intension and extension. Now, from these two words, the word tension is common. So, Alan Tate has said that extension means the denotative meaning, the apparent meaning of a poem, and intention means the connotative meaning, which is the interpretation, the inner interpretation of a poem. Now, what is this tension? Alan Tate says that in a successful poem, these two tensions, this intention and extension, are in constant conflict, are in constant tension. So, in a successful poem, these two kinds of meanings should be there in a constant tension. Tension here not always means conflict, but in a balanced way. So a poem must have an inner meaning as well as an outer meaning, and when these two meanings are balanced, then a successful poem is created. These two meanings are always in contrast with each other, in conflict with each other, and it is up to reader that which meaning the reader will take. So that is the central idea of tension in poetry. Next question. While talking about paradox, which two writings are mentioned by Cleanth Brooks? Option 1, Ode to the West Wind. Option 2, The Canonization. Option 3, Composed upon Westminster Bridge. And option 4, both 2 and 3. What are the two writings mentioned by Cleanth Brooks? The right answer is both 2 and 3, The Canonization by John Donne and Composed upon Westminster Bridge by Wordsworth. These two writings are referred by Cleanth Brooks when he talked about his idea of paradox. Okay. The last question is, who wrote the book Map of Misreading? Option 1, Harold Bloom. Option 2, Laura Mulvey. Option 3, Raymond Williams. And option 4, Maud Bodkin. The right option is option number 1, Harold Bloom. Okay. So here our today's quiz class ends. I hope the quiz class has helped you a lot. Thank you very much. Keep on watching Dynamic Study. Keep on learning. Please like this video, share this video with your friends, and also put your views in the comment section. Before leaving the class, I would like to ask you, how many of you want videos or quiz classes on previous year questions papers Please let me know in the comment section so that when I will upload my next video, I will try to make it on PYQs. So please let me know how many of you want videos on previous year question papers. I will try to fulfill your request as much as possible. Okay. So we will meet very soon in another interesting class. Have a nice day. Bye bye.